My name is Thomas. I'm 38, a cardiothoracic surgeon, the eldest child, the emergency contact for everyone, and the person who picks up the phone even when I'm mid-procedure. I live 4 blocks from the hospital because I'm perpetually on call. My coffee is always lukewarm by the time I remember it exists. I've settled more family debts than I can count, convincing myself it was devotion, not dysfunction. My sister Claire is 29. Stunning, confident, captivating. The type of person who orders a cappuccino, tastes it once, and returns it with a smile that makes the server apologize for breathing. My parents describe her as delicate. What they actually mean is that regulations don't apply to her. Her wedding took place on a Saturday afternoon in July. 200 guests, a live jazz band, an elaborate dessert display. I arrived late because a mitral valve repair went complicated and a patient needed monitoring in recovery. I still arrived before the ceremony ended. My tie sat crooked against my collar. There were traces of surgical soap on my cuff. The photographer instructed me to lower my shoulders. I attempted to comply. I carried a gift inside an ivory envelope tucked into a leather portfolio. Not currency, not a personal check. The legal deed to a completely paid $340,000 condominium, 2 bedrooms, secure building, 12 minutes from the medical center. I'd finalized the purchase 3 weeks prior. I hadn't wrapped it because I didn't believe real property required decorative paper during the reception. The music faded, and the master of ceremonies announced, "We'll begin with a very special presentation from the bride's older brother." I rose from my seat, approached the microphone, surveyed 200 expectant faces, and extended the portfolio toward Claire. My hands remained perfectly steady. I felt genuinely proud of that control. She extracted the deed, scanned the property address, and before the silence in the ballroom could even settle properly, angled the document toward the crystal chandelier above us, released a sharp laugh, and declared into the microphone, "Wrong neighborhood entirely. I'm absolutely not living in that lower income section of town." People actually laughed alongside her as if she'd delivered a punchline. My mother compressed her lips together, suppressing what looked like amusement. My father studied the contents of his wineglass intently. The groom, Marcus, directed his gaze downward. I felt heat travel up my neck and settle somewhere behind my eyes. Someone nearby whispered the word "uncomfortable." Claire elevated the deed higher, treating it like a napkin bearing an unsightly stain. "Tom," she said louder this time, "was this gesture supposed to be endearing?" I swallowed hard. The ballroom waited in suspended animation. The jazz quartet adjusted sheet music that wasn't remotely necessary for this particular scene. "Claire," I said, working to maintain a neutral vocal tone. "Congratulations on your marriage." She rolled her eyes dramatically and returned the deed as if physical contact might damage her fresh manicure. "Next time," she said clearly, "ask first." The DJ coughed awkwardly into his elbow. The MC muttered something about moving forward with speeches. And the reception continued because gatherings always continue regardless. I returned to my assigned seat. My chair scraped too loudly against the polished floor, and I smiled, not because anything was humorous, but because a psychological switch I hadn't realized existed had just activated with a decisive click. Here's information nobody in that ornate ballroom possessed, unless they happened to monitor our family messaging group at 3 in the morning, when Claire withdrew from her second graduate program. I cleared her outstanding semester balance to prevent it from entering collections. When her initial apartment flooded because she'd forgotten to turn off the bathtub faucet, I covered the insurance deductible. When she signed a rental lease she couldn't realistically afford, I established an automated monthly transfer, $2,300 on the first day of every month. The label read "Rent Assistance, Temporary," for 24 consecutive months. I purchased her an Audi SUV 3 summers ago after she contacted me crying during my post-shift nap. "It's genuinely unsafe operating the Honda," she'd explained. "And Marcus insists image matters significantly in luxury real estate sales." I provided a $22,000 down payment, maintained the financing agreement under my name because her credit application was declined, and added her to my automotive insurance policy. She collided with a concrete parking structure column during month 3. "The pillar appeared out of nowhere," she'd said, while laughing. I increased the coverage limits without argument. I financed orthodontic treatment when she declared her smile represented her personal brand. I covered a dental crown after she bit into a cherry pit. I replaced her smartphone after she dropped it from a yacht. She referred to me as my personal ATM as if the phrase was charming. I laughed along because it felt easier than calculating how many emergency appendectomies funded her. Lifestyle. My parents contributed assistance the way certain people help exclusively through verbal encouragement. We raised you to demonstrate generosity, my mother says repeatedly. God blessed you with exceptional abilities for a specific reason. What she actually means is the financial responsibility automatically transfers to the oldest child. When I resist, she sighs deeply. You're a cardiothoracic surgeon, Thomas. Money regenerates for you. When Claire resists anything, Mom insists she's still discovering her authentic self. There's a photograph stored on my phone showing my hand resting on the surgical scrub sink at 4:47 in the morning. The caption reads, "Still discovering myself. I never transmitted it to anyone. Marcus." The groom mentioned to me once over craft beers that he and Claire maintained a visualization board. The board featured imagery of a hillside residence, an outdoor culinary space, and a golden retriever wearing a decorative bandana. When I inquired about their saving strategy for a down payment, Claire gestured vaguely toward the board. "Specific details are the universe's responsibility," she'd said with absolute seriousness. My universe consists of surgical rotation schedules and intestinal perforations, and children presenting with abdominal pain that initially appears insignificant, until suddenly it becomes critical. My universe involves composing medical documentation at midnight, inserting chest drainage tubes at 2 in the morning, and hearing my surname mispronounced by an attending physician who trained me personally, and still can't remember the correct pronunciation. My universe is that minuscule, quiet moment when a patient squeezes my fingers while emerging from anesthesia, and I think to myself, okay, this justifies everything. And then my phone vibrates with messages like, "Tom, can you spot me $620? My commission payment arrives next week, but AT&T is threatening service disconnection." Or, "Tom, need $325 for floral installation deposit. Promise full reimbursement after my next property closing." Or from my mother, with 0 question mark, "We're short for the catering invoice. You'll handle it." If you inquire about the origin story, it began exactly how these situations always begin. One small favor, then another. Then everyone collectively forgets where the boundary originally existed. Then your sister transmits you a hyperlink to a wedding venue and phrases it as if she's offering you a privilege. "Do you want to sponsor something beautiful? Sponsor." As if I'm a corporate entity. 3 months before the wedding ceremony, Claire visited my apartment carrying a Pinterest board and a muffin she never consumed. "I want to reside near the urban excitement," she explained, opening her laptop. "But until we locate our dream property, we'll remain in the current rental. Can you simply continue the rent transfers? Also, we require a vehicle upgrade before the honeymoon road trip. The Q8 model features massage-capable seats." I was on hospital call. My pager activated twice during that single conversation. Each interruption prompted her to sigh, as if the electronic beeping personally insulted her existence. I attempted forming the word "no" with my tongue. It emerged thin and unconvincing. "Claire, I cannot continue covering everything indefinitely." She blinked slowly, deliberately. "You've always proclaimed family comes first. You literally slice people open to preserve their lives, but you can't wire rent payment." I glanced at the stack of patient charts covering my coffee table. I thought about the medical school debt I'd finally eliminated 2 summers ago by maintaining a residence lifestyle 3 years longer than necessary. I thought about the condominium one of my interns lost when his landlord increased rent by $450. I thought about the patient who created a drawing of a house with my name on the mailbox after I removed his gallbladder. He'd colored the mailbox blue. That's when the idea crystallized. A house represents stability. A house isn't a designer handbag. A house can function as a boundary disguised as generosity. I located a condominium in a solid, unremarkable neighborhood. Not economically depressed, not ostentatious authentic. I placed it under my legal name, intending to add Claire's name after the wedding ceremony. My attorney asked, "You're certain about this decision?" I said yes and felt something release in my jaw. I didn't request Naomi's permission because I'd grown exhausted from requesting permission to do the ethically correct thing. I anticipated she'd cry the positive kind of tears. I did not anticipate the expression she directed at me when she read the street name. The look that communicated I had embarrassed her publicly. 2 nights before the wedding, Claire texted me at 1:18 a.m. Can you do $3,200 for the premium open bar upgrade? It's absolutely essential for the atmosphere. I typed the word, no. She responded with a single crying emoji. Then, you're being so overdramatic. My mother called 5 minutes later. Just send the money, she instructed. Don't damage her emotional state. That was the final time I said yes before presenting the deed at the reception. After she announced wrong neighborhood and people moved forward with speeches and plated salmon, the words didn't dissipate. They suspended over our table like a chandelier that had loosened from its mounting. My mother leaned closer. Don't display a frown, she whispered sharply. You're making the situation worse. Claire waved at the event coordinator. Can someone please remove this deed? It's destroying my mood. Marcus looked at me, then at the portfolio in my hands, then at the floor. He didn't touch his beverage. During the toast sequence, my uncle declared I had always been a provider. He intended it as praise. It felt like a job title I hadn't applied for. The best man delivered a joke about the Audi being Claire's first love. Everyone laughed. I felt the laughter in my teeth. When dancing commenced, Claire cornered me near the dessert display. Why would you do that without asking? She demanded. There was frosting residue on her wrist. That neighborhood is beneath me. Beneath you, I repeated. You understand what I mean, she said. Marcus's clients will form judgments. I looked at Marcus. He stared at the string lights. We appreciate the thought, he said softly. But we envisioned something different. My mother joined us, hands clasped, voice sweet as artificial sweetener. Thomas, don't be inflexible. You can sell it and contribute toward a down payment somewhere more appropriate. It's not about money. I said it's literally entirely about money, she hissed. Don't create a scene, she insisted. I extracted my phone, opened a folder labeled Claire, and extended it toward her. Screenshots, payment app receipts, insurance policy payments, the lease bearing my signature, the Audi loan under my name, the rent transfers, the orthodontist, the crown, the florist deposit from a card she wasn't authorized to use. Each line a small sharp fact. Claire glanced briefly, rolled her eyes, and returned the phone. So what? You're obsessed with maintaining a score? No, I said. I kept receipts because I'm a surgeon and we document what we do. Marcus peered over her shoulder as if reading a medical chart for the first time. His face changed visibly. You've been paying the rent? He asked quietly. Claire laughed. Don't be naive, babe. Thomas enjoys playing hero. Something clicked again. I looked at Claire's bouquet, white roses, eucalyptus, expensive. I looked at the Audi and the valet line through the glass. I looked at my sister who believed the world owed her massage seats. Okay, I said, and I smiled. It was the exact same smile I give an intern when a consultant attempts to rewrite the operative note. Calm, tidy. Okay, what? She snapped. Okay, I'm done, I said. The rent transfers stop tonight. The Audi keys, please. Title and loan are in my name. I'll arrange pickup. And any balance you owe me will settle in writing starting Monday. My mother made a sound like a boiling kettle. You will not embarrass us. You embarrassed yourselves, I said. I looked at the valet through the glass and lifted my hand. He brought the Audi. Claire clutched her bouquet tighter. Marcus said nothing. The keys, I said again, calm, like requesting a surgical clamp. Claire stared, then reached into her tiny purse and slapped the key fob into my palm. You're being cruel, she whispered. I'm just being clear, I said, and I have a paper trail. I turned to leave. My mother grabbed my sleeve. You will apologize. For what? I said, for giving a house? For making this about me? Yes, she said. I walked out with the Audi fob between my fingers, the deed under my arm, and the strange light feeling of a tourniquet finally released. When I arrived home after midnight, there was a white envelope on my doormat. No return address. My name in careful block letters. I didn't open the envelope immediately. I showered off sweat, champagne spray, and the smell of smoke from the venue's outdoor heaters. I folded my suit over a chair. I ate the cake slice the caterer had slipped into a container and left on my table like a consolation prize. It tasted like sugar and cardboard. Then I opened the envelope. Inside, a single sheet of paper and a stack of printouts. The top sheet was a note in Marcus's handwriting. Thomas, this is from me, not Claire. I didn't know about the rent. I didn't know about the car. I didn't know about any of it. I found these in her email drafts and screenshots. I'm sorry for what happened tonight. I'm not sure I'm going through with this honeymoon. The printouts were text messages, not to me, to my mother, to our aunt, to a florist. Tom will cover it. Just invoice him. He loves to feel needed. There was a list titled Ask Tom with dollar amounts next to each item. Hair and makeup, DJ upgrade, bouquet toss, confetti cannons, Audi detailing. A final line. Condo. Maybe if I cry my hands shook in a way they never do when I hold a scalpel. My phone buzzed. Mom, I let it go to voicemail. She called again. And again. Then Claire texted, "You are sick. You ruined my wedding. Everyone thinks you overreacted. Wait till the hospital hears." Marcus texted 10 minutes later, "I'm sorry. I didn't know." "Are you home?" I left the envelope. "I'm at my brother's." I put the papers back into the envelope and slid it into a drawer. My pager vibrated. A small bowel obstruction. Life goes on. At 4:42 a.m., between orders and a consult note, I emailed my attorney. Subject line. Family. I attached a spreadsheet I'd been quietly updating for a year. Amounts, dates, notes. Please draft repayment agreement with monthly schedule. Also need to transfer car back to me, title already in my name. And freeze all automatic transfers from my accounts. At 7:15 a.m. I called my bank and terminated the recurring $2,300 transfer. I removed Claire from my insurance. I called the dealership to schedule the Audi pickup and asked them to change the account passwords. I changed the garage code at my condo. By noon, the family group chat was a fireworks show. Aunt Mara. Rob apologized to your sister cousin Leo. It's just money, man, my mother. You are cruel, my father. Return the car. No one said we're sorry. She humiliated you. Not once. I screenshotted the printouts from the envelope. The list called Ask Tom. The messages to vendors to just invoice him. I posted them in the group chat without comment. Typing bubbles. Then silence. At 3 p.m. My hospital's main line paged me. Caller for Dr. Morrison. I picked up. It was my mother. She had found the operator. Thomas, she said in the voice she used when I was 8 and had tracked mud in the kitchen. Stop this nonsense. You made a spectacle. You raised a spectacle, I said. You're a doctor, she snapped. Doctors don't fight about money. Doctors go bankrupt all the time, I said. I'm not going to be one of them because my family thinks I print cash in the call room. She tried a different tool. If your father has a heart attack because of this, then he should go to the I said. And he'll get excellent care from a team of professionals who don't accept dessert displays as payment. Click. At 7 p.m. Marcus texted again. I told Claire I'm postponing the honeymoon. She's at your parents'. She says you stole the car. She's posting on Instagram. I opened Instagram. Claire had posted a story, a photo of the Audi with the caption, "He took my wedding getaway car because he's a bitter little man." I screenshotted the registration in my name and sent it to her. She posted another story. "He's harassing me." Comments flooded in. Hearts, fire emojis. "You deserve better, Queen." I put my phone face down. I made pasta. I watched it boil. I thought about the moment at the mic when she laughed and how fast the room joined her. How easy it is to laugh when you think the person you're laughing at will still pay the bill. The next morning there was another white envelope on my doormat. Same careful block letters. Inside, a letter from Claire's attorney demanding I return the stolen vehicle and make whole a $55,000 wedding gift shortfall. The letterhead was a Google Docs template. The signature was a squiggle. A return address was my parents' house. I laughed. Not nicely. I replied with a real lawyer's letter by lunchtime. It was short and boring in the way that scares people. Dates, amounts, statutes, words like conversion and unjust enrichment. It included a repayment schedule, $1,100 on the first of every month until the debt was gone. It gave her 30 days to sign, or we'd see each other at a courthouse where Instagram captions don't count. At 2 p.m., Marcus showed up at my door. He looked like he hadn't slept. He handed me Claire's house key. She gave me an ultimatum, he said. Either I defend her or I'm not a man. I don't think I'm her kind of man. I made coffee. He didn't drink it. He stared at the envelope on my table. I didn't know, he kept saying. I thought you liked it. Liked what? I asked. Taking care of her, he said. I like taking care of people who want to take care of themselves too, I said. Those are different things. He nodded. I'm sorry. You don't owe me an apology, I said. But you do owe yourself a line. He looked at the floor. I think I found it. That night, my mother called from Claire's phone. Return the car. Send the money. And we'll forget this. We won't forget it, I said. But I will move on. Without your family? She asked, horrified. I thought of fluorescent lights. The quiet in the hospital at 3 a.m., the intern who brings me bad coffee and says, "You okay?" The nurse who leaves a granola bar on my desk when I forget to eat. The security guard who nods at me when I walk to my car at dawn. "Yes," I said, "with my family." A month later, the condo in the cheap part of town is rented to a pediatric nurse and her partner. They put a plant in the balcony and send me a photo of the sunset like I've never seen that angle of light. They pay on time. They love the quiet hallways and the grocery store across the street. They tell me the landlord answers texts fast. He does. The Audi sits in my garage. I drive it on Sundays to keep the battery alive. It's ridiculous and smooth and smells like Claire's coconut perfume no matter how many times I clean the mats. I'll sell it when the title transfer is tidy. For now, it's a trophy I don't want, but also don't mind looking at. Claire didn't sign the repayment plan in 30 days. My lawyer filed. And suddenly her tone changed. The ring photos stopped. The stories went private. Marcus moved into his brother's spare room. He sent me a screenshot last week. I'm paying my half, even if we don't end up married. It's mine too. $220 month. Debt. I didn't ask. He did it anyway. A line. My parents haven't visited. They sent a message through Aunt Mara. "We will reconcile when you remember who you are." I looked in a mirror after a 12-hour day, wiped a streak of betadine off my cheek and said out loud, "I remember. In the hospital nothing changed and everything did. Appendixes still burst. Teenagers still come in with pain that is nothing until it isn't. I still chart until my hand cramps. I still lose patience and sit in my car afterwards staring at a steering wheel I can't make move." But the background hummed, the one that said I owed the world a piece of my paycheck, because I had letters after my name went quiet. I clean my apartment now on Sundays. I cook badly and perfectly for one. I turn my phone off sometimes. I walk to the farmer's market. The woman who sells peaches calls me doctor with the tired eyes and gives me one extra peach on days when I look like a person who needs a small sweet thing. I do. Last weekend, a resident asked me how to say no to a family that keeps pulling. She stood in the doorway twisting a pin, brave enough to practice surgery, scared to say a word. "You say it once," I told her, "and mean it. Then you say it again when they pretend they didn't hear." "Does it get easier?" she asked. "No," I said, "but you get stronger." She nodded, wrote that down like it was a pharmacology dose, and left to put in a consult. I stood in the call room looking at the whiteboard where someone had drawn a lopsided heart around the word team. Sometimes I think about the moment Claire held the deed up to the chandelier light and laughed. It still stings, not because of the money, because of the message. "You're not enough unless you hand me more." That message lived in my chest for 38 years. I evicted it. The moral isn't fancy. It's not Instagrammable. It's this: I won't let anyone treat my kindness like an ATM ever again. I won't pay for my place at a family table. I won't confuse silence for peace. I will not be a walking credit line with a stethoscope. Yesterday, a white envelope showed up again. My stomach dipped. I picked it up like it might bite. Inside, a single note in Claire's handwriting. "I can't believe you're doing this to me. Mom says you'll cave eventually." No apology. No signature. I put the note in the drawer with the other papers. I made coffee. I set my phone to do not disturb. I opened the windows. The city air came in warm and a little dirty. It smelled like summer and cars and possibility. Then I walked to the hospital with steady hands, grateful for the work that tells me who I am when people try to tell me something else. And when my pager buzzed, I didn't think about wedding speeches or dessert walls. I thought about the quiet moment after anesthesia when a patient squeezes my fingers and I squeeze back, and we both understand what I'm here to do. I am here to cut, to mend, to refuse what breaks me, and to keep what keeps me whole, and that includes my money, my keys, my time, and my name.